Impa, how you feeling?
How you doing?
Good,
See,
man.
Alex.
A couple days until your fight.
Yes, sir.
How are you feeling?
A couple of days to my fight about peace. I'm doing what I love. It's another fight week. It's usually like, man, is it gonna be fight week yet? Like having to be patient. Like I love training. I love what I get to do. I love working. Man, there's nothing like fight week. There's nothing like going to battle and just doing what I love with people that I love. We went on a hike this morning to closer to Dodo Falls with the team, hanging out with my dog, my teammates, my whole crew, and I'm just very blessed. And my family comes into town tonight or tomorrow, and I'm ready to get after it, like do what I love. It, like put the 4-ounce gloves on, lock in with my trainers even more, and go claim this victory. That's like the best feeling ever. So I'm at peace. I'm happy.
Did you come out early to the state?
I came out on Friday. Nothing, not super early. Like I'm gonna claim this victory. It's another fight, another day, right? I respect the climate, but I train year round and I push myself, so I'm prepared.
So you're like, screw that Utah, screw that Utah elevation, huh?
In a sense, but I respect it. It's like I don't think I'm ever like in an arrogant way, but we definitely did the necessary general physical preparation to be ready for this fight. So ready to go.
Obviously, you kicked off your first fight of the season in style. Now that you've had some time to reflect on it, how do you feel about that?
About how I feel about my first fight of the season? I'm grateful. What I like about that fight is that I learned a lot of things from the Johnny Eblen fight. Johnny Eblen's an excellent fighter, and like some of the mistakes that I made in that fight and things that he capitalized on, I saw Alex Polizzi wanted to capitalize on. So it was a moment of growth and a moment that I gotta really take advantage of. And it was cool because, I say burn the ship, so I put that fight behind me, take the lessons from it, and then the same one for this one. Like I put it behind me. I'm very grateful. Alex is a solid fighter, and I know he's down to scrap, and he's still here. So I wish the best for him. But when I think about that fight, I know that I could still do a lot better. So there are many things that I'm gonna take from that fight, take in this one, and show what we're really about.
You said one of your goals this season was you wanted to face all of the champions.
Yes, sir.
And you got a European champion as your second fight. Were you happy that when his name was thrown your way?
Yes, for sure. So the cool thing about Jakob, Jakob Nedoh, I saw his fight, and I saw his last two fights before the PFL season. I saw when he fought in Paris, and I saw when he fought in Dublin in the title fight. And he fought well. He fought well. So it's cool when you see guys doing well, and to be a champion, you have to take out champions, right? Like when I always say the Johnny Eblen fight, like judge's decision aside, I know I won the fight, so it's cool. Like this year, getting to fight two champions so far, excellent champions, and then now this one too. Like when you solidify your place in history, that to me means a lot. The belts aside, it's like fighting the best of the best, and that's what it means more to me, more so than even the belts. It's like you're going against the one who says step up to the plate, and he does, and he did. So I'm looking forward to that, and like. When you do that, you show you're at a different level, and you show that like you represent your family's last name, your team, your gym, your family, your crew. So yeah, when I got that name, Greg Savage texted me, "You have Jakob Nedoh." I was like, "Let's go!" And like he even said it too in the cage when I put the belt around his waist for the PFL Europe title. He said it'd be an honor to fight me, and like for me, like I'm gonna go take him out, and that's the biggest respect I can give.
On paper, it's a very fun fight.
Thank you.
How do you break down the matchup?
How I break it down the matchup, Jacob's an excellent power puncher, solid athlete, good coaching. He comes to fight. He has good heart. For me, I'm going to negate it all. I'm going to dominate. And I'm going to show, respectfully, I'm going to make it look simple. I'm going to cut through it, claim his victory, and finish his fight. Impose my will from the get-go.
You looking to knock him out in the first round?
First round knockout, second round knockout, third round knockout. It'll be a dominant finish, leave unscathed, finish my hands raised, and focus on the next one.
Obviously, you're not looking past Jacob, but if you were to pick another next former champion, is there one you have in mind, or are you just kind of leaving it up to whoever?
Whoever. I want the best of the best. Even if it's not one of the champions, I want the guy who's the best fighter. Right, I want the best of the best. I respect all the champions. Rob Wilkinson's excellent. Sapo, or not Sapo, is it? Yeah. Shoeface, sorry, is excellent. You had Sadabu, who did really well. You have
Rob.
I said Rob, right? Yeah. So you have all these guys, are really solid pros and fighters who've done excellent work. For me, it's like whoever, whenever, wherever. It doesn't matter. I'll fight 2 in the same night, 3 in the same night for all I care. Put me in the first fight of the night, middle fight, and the last fight, and I'll do it.
Awesome. Good luck.
Thank you.
But you're obviously a special fighter. That's why you're a world champion.
Thank you.
I think there's been enough documentation to show you're a special person outside of the cage as well. You mentioned in an interview earlier this week that even while you're fighting, you're pursuing a higher level of education. You're doing more businesses. This week, you were giving back to here in Salt Lake City, coaching up a boxing class. Can you speak on how you can manage all of that at the same time?
Yes, sir. Thank you, first of all. I have a great team. That's what it's about. They make the load light. Dieter, he's my trainer, and he stays on me. He demands discipline. So when it's time to trade or cut something out, he calls that. He's the head of this right now. I have Herbert here. We have my other teammates. Landry's here. But then I have a great team. You see Joseph Howell, he was with Kingsman Security Solutions. He helps me out a lot with just like my logistics, travel security, my team, make sure everybody's good. I don't have to think about a thing. PFL contacts him. Joanna, she's amazing PR, but she also steps and puts many hats on, right? And they made me not think about it. I have Cliff, I have Ryan. They help a lot with media, and they different ways, different styles, but they're also just there, even at the house. Whatever it may be. I'm very, very blessed that God's blessed me with the people that help me become better. And when I'm back home, right, I have the guys at the gym, running the gym. I don't have to think about it. They reorganized the gym like I asked, way before I needed it. Everything's good and everything's set in place. Alan Diamond really helps out with a lot of business management. And I was thinking fighting, you got to treat it like a company. It's one of the businesses that I do, but not the only business that I do. And I wish fighters could see it that way, because God made you a lot more complex than you give yourself credit for. I didn't come in this just to be another fighter, another guy, or I never want to live this life to be that way, just to be another this. I look at life you see look at Jaylen Brown for the Celtics, right? He's a big inspiration for me after learning about what he's done, but he showed that you don't just have to be an athlete, right? Today's Juneteenth, what a great day, right? Great historical day, but it's also too, as a minority, I see the people think the only thing you can do is dribble a ball, play football. And no, you could use those hands to be a surgeon, help people. You could be a service worker. You could be a person who serves the community, right? And I think all that's great. I'm grateful that I get to be an athlete, but that's not all that I am. My parents always pushed education. That's a huge part of my team, and that's how I'm able to get it done. Because for me, fight week is chill. Fight week is a lot less active than one day at home, and that's really cool. So different projects, they always joke around, maybe I'm not the most organized person in the world, but I got organized people around me. So they help me out, and they help me succeed when in other places. So I like what it was, I think Steve Jobs was talking about for his business model was the Beatles. Each one on the team helped fix what the other guy's negative trait was. And that's what helps me. Where I fall short and I need to get better, they all are passionate about that in their own way. Maybe they don't want to fight, but when it comes to organization, when it comes to getting you here, when it comes to helping other people grow, and we're all centered around a certain thing. I would say show people unconditionally loved, and everybody just blend passions. Cliff and I, we met in college, played college football, and he wants to be a documentary filmmaker, and he's been doing it. So stay tuned for that. But the cool thing about it is we lived together. He's helped me with my dog when I was my puppy, as he's been growing, and I always call him Uncle Cliff. But the cool thing about it is we talked on the bus where I wanted to be, and I said it's about blending passions, right? I like cameras. I think it's really cool. I've got to take photos for PFL, but that's not what I want to do my whole life. But I do have interest in it. But man, you talk to him about the documentaries, he'll tell you about every single one. I got Ryan here. Everybody has their own role. But that's the way I handle fight week. I can trust the people around me to do what they need to do. And, we all challenge each other. If somebody's falling short, we check each other. And it's always respectful. And, if Joanna and Peyton, who are the two ladies on the team, they're respected, they're taken care of, and that's cool for me. So as long as there's respect, that's good. If there's no respect, somebody can just get out. And it's cold, right? But it's also we have a very we have a tight-knit group, and I think that's the reason. I know that's the reason I became a world champion, and I know it's going to be the reason I get this title again this year.
I know you've talked about how PFL has changed not only your career but your life. Not to give talk too much about your opponent, but can you talk about the opportunity afforded to your opponent through PFL? Goes to PFL Europe, wins the title, now gets the biggest matchup he could have in facing you. Just talk about the opportunity PFL presents. They presented it to you, and they present to all fighters.
Yeah, so shout out to Jakob, right? So I got to see him, like I said earlier, I see him fight twice live, and now the opportunity to fight him, right? He's an excellent fighter. He's a champion in his own right in the European division. I know that we're scheduled to fight, and that's what I wanted. I want to fight all champions. So first of all, thank you to PFL for making that matchup. I mean, I know it has to fall in place sometimes, but they could still. Everybody had first round finishes, so it's kind of like a pick of the litter. But for PFL, so as you know, I fought in the UFC for a little bit. Nothing against another organization. I think that's where we make mistakes. Like, it's always compare this. Like, you're trying to be not this. What I recognize is this. Like, PFL does a better job to me than the UFC in this sense. Like, you have a job, you have work, and you get to earn it. Who doesn't want to earn what they get in life? You don't have to talk, for lack of a better word, you don't have to talk shit. And you don't have to be a person who's just, like, begging or, like, seeking validation in the wrong ways and losing yourself. Like, you could be yourself. That's what I think PFL should push. I think PFL should push the fact that you don't have to talk shit to be a great fighter, and you can show that because kids watch this, families watch this. And actually, a guy came to the seminar last night. He said he'd love to watch PFL more, maybe if it was like on Saturdays or if it was this, or like maybe different things change logistically, or even on Fridays, because what he loves about it is that you don't have to do like this whole politics thing. Like, you show up, you do your thing. Maybe the matchup for you is not the best at that time, but get better, right? I mean, all these fighters last year, excellent. From Josh Silveira, who I fought in the title fight, to Martin Hamlet, to Tim Karen, and gosh, I forget his name, Chris something. The guy that I fought, like, you earn your way to the top, and that to me is special, right? Not the guys in the UFC, they don't. I think people are almost scared to say the other thing. Like, you can't be scared if you're going to go to battle with another company. Like, I was grateful for my time there, but the opportunity afforded to me to being in the PFL is like something that I got to really change my family's life, acquire new businesses. You're always in the media, you're always staying active, and I think sometimes fighters are, in a sense, like operating by fear and a little laziness because they don't want to do extra things outside of it. In life, people fail. In life, people get success. That's on you. But all these great companies, you see anybody who leads a great company, they usually have different business interests going on too. And I think fighters should see themselves as a business, and PFL taught me that. Like, it's like one of those things where I can stay super active. I have my time, stay super active, have my time, and you hone it in, and then you have the right teams in place. For Jacob, coming from Europe to the global side, look at Dakota. Look what she does. Been doing. Like, she's been doing excellent work, and she's making the most of her opportunity. I know he lost his last fight. I know he needs a first-round finish, so to be hungry, what a great way to make a fight from a guy who likes to throw down and another guy who loves to kill guys in the cage. So it's like, that's what we want to see. So it never had to be this shit-talking craziness, insult somebody's family. Like, it shows that the PFL can operate by class. And we call ourselves a sport, we call it a season. Look at all the major organizations, baseball, football, basketball, NHL. They don't have to talk trash, and the major companies invest in them. So I think if PFL can keep like leaning towards that, I think they'll take over, right? And like, I'm glad to be a part of it. So I think the fact that they're doing it differently and still figuring it as they go, like, look at the staff, like, they all wear many hats, and now they have fights going on in Dublin with my teammate Jason Jackson and Paul Hughes, and then you're here. So I think it's as cool. It's like, it's affording all opportunities, and it's showing that on a global scale with the other leagues soon to open up, Africa, Australia. I think I heard about Brazil, MENA. Like, you're going to see that PFL is doing something different. It just takes time.
Last one for me. And speaking to you previously and hearing you today, there's one word consistent with you besides winning, and that's dominance.
Thank you.
When this is all said and done, why is dominance going to be one of the most important things about your legacy?
To me, dominance is going to be one of the most important things as far as a legacy, or what we call it legacy, is because you're pursuing it with excellence. Like, anything I want to do, I'm here to be the best at it. And when you look at the greatest fighters in history, maybe they don't have the best record always, right? Look at Robbie Lawler, but he's a dominant fighter. Look at the four kings in boxing. Like, they're still talked about to this day. Sugar Ray still earns from that, because when you dominate anything that you do, you're like planting seeds for your future. Like, if you do things just to be good, be okay, or be kind of great, I don't know what all you're gonna reap from that. For me, it's like, how can I leverage this career and make the most of it? And that's what dominance means to me. It's like pursuing it with excellence, because I'm afforded this opportunity. Like, you guys are asking me questions about my life. Like, I'd be down to fight whether you ask me questions or not. And like, it's an honor that you're pursuing your career in your life, and then we get to share this moment together. Because like some people may never want to fight, but they have a passion about writing articles and sharing things. And that to me is like, so you deserve to have, I should be pursuing to dominate, because you deserve the best, when it comes to your career. Like, you shouldn't have a guy here who just kind of doesn't care and just wants to be good. That's an insult to your career, and it's an insult to what my parents have raised me to do. And my coaches deserve for me to be the best, because they put so much time into me. Like Dieter, for example, like, he drives from Homestead, South Florida, almost 2 hours, sometimes maybe 3 on a bad day of traffic, to get to Kill Cliff before him and Henry are the first trainers there, and Sean. And then it's 8:30, and he's working all the way till night. Then he'll go back down south, meet me at my gym at 8 p.m., right, work with us. On the days he's there for sparring, he's taking a nap in one of the offices so he can help us to get better. And that's why it means for me, Dom, it's like I owe that to them, you know? So for me, it's like you come back with your shield or you come back on it. And that's the best way to make this grow. Like, we're all working together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's up, Impa? How you doing, man?
What's up, my guy? How you
You're
doing?
looking good, man. You mentioned you have a great team. Do you have a stylist, or is this Impa original?
No stylist. If anybody's stylist wants to work together, I'm glad to do business and make that plug. My parents always got on me. When I was a kid, I didn't care too much. I just wore like white T-shirts, jeans, and Converses probably for years. And then I heard a quote once. It says, "The way you dress is part of good manners. It's the way you represent yourself, right? You walk into a room and you respect it. Like, nothing against the fighters who come in sweatpants. They're here to work. They're cutting weight. Like, I get it. There's nothing, but everybody has their own personal style. But like, I sit in front of y'all today and like I get to speak and have this, and you consider it a business. Like, make it professional. You see like how baseball players used to do back in the even the NBA. Like, you're introducing yourself without speaking a word. And I think when you take those little steps towards excellence each day, it all comes together in the cage. And I mean, as we see it in so far in my PFL career, and as it will continue to, you pursue excellence. Am I perfect? No, I've made mistakes, but it's like even in fights I've made mistakes. But in the end, you come and claim victory. So that to me, it all comes together. Like they say, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And like I still have a lot of things I need to improve on. Like we don't joke like organization, this, but you always have to pursue the best in what you do and pull the people around you. So that's a big reason. Like I want to come here and represent and like, you know, share this moment with you all the best that I can.
Mm-hmm. Look good, feel good, fight good, right?
You know,
you got a lot of tickets for kids last time. You said take it out of my purse for all I care. I was wondering, were you able to get tickets for kids this time around?
Yes, we did get tickets for kids this time, and anybody who can make it. You know, shout out to Joanna, right? So she's a PR, but she also helps out with like social media management. We got to do a seminar last night, right? And Ultimate Training Combat Center, right? And I said that wrong, tongue twister. But here in Salt Lake City, and we had a cool seminar. We were able to give tickets thanks to, you know, Eduardo and the PFL, and everybody who's part of it. They, you know, afford us 25 tickets for them, right? And then if anybody else needs tickets, like I'm still glad to take it out of my purse. Like it doesn't matter to me. Like it's just that the fact that PFL got behind that means a lot. You know, a lot of kids who don't, their parents can't afford much of anything else. You know, so like the fact that they want to fight or they want to see it, they're not gonna be stuck in their iPad all day, and they can see martial artists go at it and still have respect. Who knows what that does for them? Or just have a good night where they don't have to hear this parent on alcohol just going crazy or something in the neighborhood that they're in. They can be in a safe place for a fun time for a little bit and maybe be inspired for the future. And they can see other fighters. Maybe they hate me as a fighter. Oh, well. You know, like it's just that they could just still have a great night. So I don't know. Kids are special to me. I have the gym back home. We have a lot of young guys out there. Like, we got this guy Juan. He's there to help for anything, and his parents own a restaurant. If he can't make it in, he'll come early and train, help at his parents' restaurant, and then he's go out here volunteering at other events because he's part of the team. He's working at McDonald's 35 hours a week. He just turned 19 years old, and he's an excellent boxer because he wants to make the most of his life. So when I see kids like that, there are other kids like that in other places, and Andres had his first fight, and he still wants to help out other people. Like, it's just cool to see these guys and these young kids and these young ladies like want to build the best of their life. I know I'm 30 years old, so maybe call me old, maybe call me young, I don't know. But I think that you should always look at who's coming behind you. They say, like, funny enough, being Juneteenth, like an old African-American saying is, as you climb the mountain, you reach back and pull others up with you. So if I can do something about giving tickets away, like what else am I going to do, buy a new motorcycle? So, which I would, but I'd rather put that into those kids and let them have a fun experience.
That's awesome, man. I've been seeing all week you've been with a dog. Is that a service dog? Is that your dog? What can you tell me about this dog?
Yeah, that's Beacon, man. Dieter, you know, he gave him to me. He's my dog, and he's a service dog. He's going to be trained for search and rescue, and we want to help do some like protection work with him too. Joseph, he's going to get a dog soon enough. He's going to get one of Dieter's dogs, and he does a lot of security work, but help a lot of people with it. I'd like to volunteer when it's like a natural disaster, or if it's like sexual trafficking, like you can like do that. I was actually talking to Josh Silvera. He's interested in helping with stuff like that too, whether it's self-defense. And some people, you see people like when you're walking around with the dog, and they just smile like this. Like you're just walking, you're looking past the restaurant, they're smiling. Like he brings a lot of joy, like a beacon of light. So yeah, that's my guy. He's the house mascot with Landry, Cliff, and I. So shout out to 291. You know, so
awesome.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about a different dog, a different kind of dog, Aaron Jeffrey.
My dog, Aaron Jeffrey.
How valuable has he been to this training camp?
Gosh, man. Aaron Jeffrey, you know what I'm going to say, F you. because we get back and forth. We just go back. That's my dude, man. I love Aaron Jeffrey, man. He's a solid guy. Like we just throw it down. We get in so much trouble for scrapping in practice. Like Henry, like we laugh. Like we were training one day and they go 30 seconds left, and we were not backing up. And Henry's like, "What are y'all doing? What are you guys doing?" Like, fight smart. I'm like, he's like, "What is this? Does this look like fighting to you?" And we're just throwing down like just reckless abandonment, and we're laughing. And Dieter's like, "Do you guys hate each other or love each other?" Because we'll spar, throw down, and like you just hear us yelling at each other back and forth, having fun with it. And then it's like, "Hey, you want to have pizza tonight or cookout?" Like that's my brother. My parents refer to him as the son with the mullet. So he's a good guy. Like he'll stay at my parents' house sometimes and go up to North Carolina. His mom, I love her, beautiful family. I'm trying to get them to move their farm in Canada down to Florida. I haven't figured it out yet, but he's such a good guy, man. He's smart. He works hard. He's a hustler. He cares about his craft, and man, I know he's going to keep doing great things. Like bring him on the PFL side. Like he's down to work and down to fight. And like I can't say enough good things about him. I could talk the rest of the interview about him because you meet a few people in life that aren't blood that become family, and that's Aaron Jeffrey.
That's awesome. He said he's afraid that his Instagram is becoming an Impa fan page, so
I do.
it's awesome to see your guys' relationship. Yeah. And then last one, you wrote on Instagram today, caption, "Fortunate are those who take the first steps." What can you tell me about this quote and how it reflects your mentality ahead of this upcoming bout?
Yeah, so my mentor Jonathan Logan put me on the author Paulo Coelho, right? He's got some really cool books, and most like a lot of his quotes and how he thinks, it just helps me expand on it. But I always think like when I get moments like this, the song "Simple Man" by Leonard Skinner, I was getting my butt whooped by guys who are 125, like getting choked left and right, guys and girls in just different gym when I first stepped into a gym in Hickory. And I heard that song every day. I remember like literally listening to that song getting choked out, like just like, but I took that first step, as my parents did when they came from Congo to here to make a better opportunity. I see that like, I was wondering like when I'm on trips like this, I'm like, what if I never left accounting? Like being a CPA, my focus would be best, but like, what would I get out of this? Like that, like I wouldn't have any of these moments, like hanging out with people that I love, teams, like even the challenges that come now, I'm so grateful because they're different than what I would face earlier. But I'm always in a new, beautiful place. PFL is super accommodating. They're very encouraging. I've been to Riyadh, I've been to Utah, I've been to Vegas, Texas, all these trips, and like I'm earning. Like I literally get paid to live my life on vacation, and I love it. So it's like, what happens if you take that first step? Well, it's like walk by faith, not by sight, like, and that's it. Like to me, it's like I get to take that step of faith, and I get to share it with people that I love, and I'm no more important than anybody on my team. I just get to do this job this week, right? So that's what that means to me. So I get to take that step and get after it.
Thank you, man. Good luck on Friday.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Yep.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, thank you. I wanted to speak before your fight in Vegas in April. You mentioned about Harvard Business School.
Yes, sir.
What's the plan with that? Is there any update?
Yeah, so it's going well. I have just a couple more things to turn in, and like the program's almost over for the certificate program, and then ideally at the end of the year I have to start my MBA, whether it's Harvard Business School or it's Wharton would be ideal as my goal school, or wherever God lets me go. I mean, University of Miami is down there, and it's pretty interesting to me because I have a business in Miami and a few different businesses down there. So it might be good to connect locally and make the most of it. Sometimes it's not just where you go, but who you know and who you connect with. And then my mentor Jack Daly would say, and a friend of mine, he just would say, go where the best school you can get into is. So I'm going to pursue the best education that I can get and pursue the best opportunities. I'm going to still do a couple more certificate programs. I like to do a few more with Harvard, and Cornell, and maybe Emory. They have some really interesting programs. And then the next step is to get my MBA and eventually get my PhD. So probably in economics.
You hear often degrees are a full-time thing, but you're balancing it with fighting. How hard has it been recently to balance the two together, or do you find it quite easy?
I can do a pretty good job of ignoring things, I would say. So like it helps me, like I might have to like focus on this, but I know that. So when I'm fighting or training, like my Kill Cliff, I'm at my gym down in Miami, like I can compartmentalize it. So when I focus on Kill Cliff, I'm there. When I'm there in the gym in Miami, I'm teaching. So it's like then I remember what my coach says. I'm like, oh, so it helps me get better. Same thing with school. It's like a way I get away. Usually when I'm traveling, I get a lot of work done on the computer. I chill. Or I'm like before bed at night, I turn it in. Maybe I can do it through my phone. And sometimes like watching a different module. So when I'm driving, like I'll listen to it. And this is pursuing myself to get better. And like they're like super understanding there too, like knowing that I'm fighting, I'm working. So you can have extensions too. I really haven't had to utilize any of those, but for me, like it all helps you get better because like I was saying earlier, as you pursue excellence in everything, that it all like it all comes together. And like I don't sleep much, so it keeps me up and lets me get work done.
And finally, not to talk about the specifics of finances, but I remember before you won the million, you mentioned to me the likes of Impa's refinery and your other sort of business. Did you lay out like a spreadsheet of what you wanted to put in each bit or not?
One more time?
Did you lay out like a sort of chunk that you want to put the money in of each bit, especially with your other businesses going on?
Yeah, so I consult a lot with like Alan Diamond, my mentor Jonathan Logan, and like where I should put it. Maybe utilizing fiduciary, having like a financial advisor, making the right decisions. Different investors I talk to, and now things are starting to kick off, right? So what I'm going to put back into this business, make the most of it, see who wants to invest in it. And right now, a big focus is the refinery, as we had the seminar yesterday, and all the kids and everybody I have to focus on at the gym. And then with Chilo Bush Trek, I have a lot of like guys like Ryan and Cliff and Peyton are going to start really building out for like looking to do some film festivals too, just on like the motorcycle and adventure side and storytelling. And it all feeds back into fighting. So how do I invest back in my fighting career? Where do I need to look for my next residence as far as place of living, and like how that place is going to be a place to help recover, sleep, improve as a fighter, but also be in the best location. So right now that's where it is. And like I'm looking 30 years down the road. Like I'm not looking to live this crazy lavish lifestyle right now. Like I lived in a yurt not long ago, so let's not forget that. And now I can, like live a lot better life. But really, I just like to be on a few lots of land, and I would like to, just keep building my businesses right now, keep putting it back into what I want to create, and I'll start like adding like different reports in some cool ways with Live Wealth Group.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we only have time for a couple Zoom questions. Mills, start us off, please.
This MMA Locker Room, part of Pub Sports Radio. How you doing, Toshibo? Happy holiday.
Hey, man, how you doing? Happy holiday.
Good, man.
My man.
You already know, man. Can't complain, man. We talked a few times, back when you were in a different organization, talked to a few times in this organization. But let's talk about it, man. Tell me about how it feels to hear your name associated with champion and for the Kasanganay, and how does that give you the confidence and the gain every single day that you step into that cage?
Great question, man. I appreciate it. When I hear my name associated with champion, it's an affirmation of what I believed about myself, what my parents have called me to be. My dad always says, do everything with excellence. Do everything with, a relentless pursuit. And anytime you step into somewhere, my dad would always say, I don't care where they drop you off in the world. I don't care if you don't speak the language. One thing you better do is be successful because you're a Kasanganay. All right? And when I get to share this title with my family, when I get to share the fact they say champion and they refer to me as that, it's an honor, but it's also a challenge. To me, it's a challenge to continue. It's not to say do it once. It's not to say do it okay. Not to say like so much wishing for the next one. It's like how I carry myself in life, in and outside of the cage. And that to me is what's more important about being a champion. Like the gold belts, like that stuff can fade away, can burn in a fire, but no matter what, you're always a champion. And I would say I was always a champion well before I stepped on a mat. Like that was my singular pursuit for me personally as a fighter. And the fact that I'm doing it, the fact we're continuing to do it, the fact that I get to fight champions, and that's what I said I wanted to do, and the PFL's honored that, and God's blessed that. That's what I'm here to do. So, as I step forward, to claim this victory on Friday, taking out another champion, I'm very, very, I'm very grateful that I get to associate that with my family's name.
Got it, man. Let's talk a little bit about your run. I mean, you never had a losing record in any organization. 1-0 in LFA, 2-0 contenders, 2-2 in the UFC, 6-1 in the PFL. What is it about this organization where it just made you just lay your hat and get you home?
7-0 in the PFL. Y'all know I beat Johnny Eblin. So it's not so much the organization. I've had great trainers and people in my life. When I stepped into fighting, I shout them out like Tommy DiBernardo, Nick Rodriguez, who just got engaged. Congratulations to you. Joe Hurst. They've always like pushed me for excellence. They gave me the best of what they knew, and like I ran with it. When I got to Jimmo, man, he invested so much into me and like treated me like his own son, and he didn't have to do that. And my teammate Diego Costa, Seki Delfino, Jonathan Logan, like I've always had great people in my life who like recognize that I'm here to work, that I'm here to show up and do the extra work and whatever I needed, but they always demand the best of me and never let me slide. Got to kill Cliff and Henry, G. Jones, Nick Lenz, Herbert Burns, and like I want to say a special thing about Dieter. Dieter doesn't play. Like Dieter doesn't play, man. Like, I've had such a great mentor in him. Like, I'm 30 years old, and today I'm talking about I'm going to go to Cuba at the end of the year to train. And he's like, yeah, you're not riding motorcycles out there. You're not doing this. And, like, there's no need to argue with him because I got to say yes, sir. But he sees me, you know, as his own, and that means a lot to me. And he invested in me. I asked him when he was going to work with me. I said, what do you want to do with this? He's like, I'm only here to build world champions. If you don't want to be a world champion, then get out. And, you know, he led me to this first world title. You don't always get that in life, people who want to bless you, and I think God put these people in my life for a reason. And I'm very, very grateful. Henry Hooft, you know, who's done so much for my life. That's the reason I've had the success and the teammates and training partners I've had. Like we talked about Aaron Jeffrey, Delano Taylor, Jason Jackson, Gregory Rodriguez, Chase Gamble when we trained together, Chris Honeycutt, Chris Weidman, Salter. Like, I'm a culmination just of people in my life who put it in me. And I know God's given me a gift to fight, but they've helped refine who I am. And so that's why you see that. And I appreciate that. Yeah, no losing records, 7-0 in the PFL. We can run it back. And I'm just, I love what I get to do. So if you tell me I could fight every weekend, I would. That's about it.